Look at you. You are exhausted, dizzy, and doubting your own sanity. You ask them one simple question, and suddenly you are drowning in a suffocating ocean of their words. They are dragging up arguments from 6 months ago, using complicated jargon that means absolutely nothing, and changing the rules of the conversation every 10 seconds. Your brain feels like it is on fire. You are desperately trying to untangle their web of pseudo-intellectual garbage, burning all your energy just to defend yourself against details that do not even matter. You are losing, my friend, not because you lack the facts, but because you are playing their exhausting game. You think you're going crazy, my friend, but you're just being played. I used to be exactly where you are, completely drained by people who use massive word salads to hide their own incompetence. I am here to wake you up. If your situation is uniquely complicated, drop your story in the comments. I read them, and I will break it down. But today, let's dissect the smug word salad chef. This counter technique requires you to be incredibly lazy, strategically. They use this trick because it always worked, bleeding your patience dry. But today, their game ends. And at the very end of this video, I will give you the one exact 2-word phrase that shatters their control permanently. Watch closely. Listen to me, my friend. You think this person is highly intelligent because they use big words and talk in circles. They are not. Their endless talking is not a sign of a superior intellect. It is a camouflage mechanism for a weak mind. They know they cannot win on the actual facts, so they hide behind a dictionary. They weaponize their vocabulary to create a smokescreen, hoping you will get so lost in the syllables that you forget the original argument. I am going to teach you how to blow that smokescreen away with zero effort. But first, you must understand the weapon they are using against you. In the underground world of behavioral control, we call this tactic the fog bomb. It is designed to do one thing: cause immediate cognitive overload. The moment you corner them with a truth they do not like, they pull the pin on the fog bomb. They drop heavy jargon. They aggressively pivot to irrelevant things you supposedly did 3 years ago. And they layer 3 different arguments into one massive, suffocating monologue. They are flooding your brain's processing power on purpose. The ultimate goal of the fog bomb is not to prove that they are right. It is to exhaust you until you surrender. They want you so tired, so confused, and so drained from tracking their historical tangents that you simply give up and say, "Fine, whatever, you win." That is how the parasite feeds. But theory is useless unless you see the trap snapshot. Let me show you exactly what this looks like in real life. Right before I give you the ultimate weapon to destroy it, here is the exact setup. You ask them a very simple, direct question about a mistake they made today. Why didn't you pay that bill? Instantly, they do not answer. Instead, they launch into a massive 5-minute history lesson about how your tone is disrespectful, how the banking system is flawed, and how you forgot to take out the trash last Tuesday. They are actively mutating a simple yes or no question into a philosophical war. If you watch their face closely during this monologue, you will see a faint, undeniable smirk. They actually believe their verbal labyrinth is a sign of high intellect. They think they are absolute geniuses for dodging accountability so smoothly. In their mind, they are an untouchable debater, and they think they are successfully drowning you in their superior logic. And this is where you usually make your fatal mistake. Your first instinct is to defend yourself against all the irrelevant details they just threw at you. You want to argue about the trash. You want to argue about your tone. Don't. You are falling into the trap. In a moment, I will give you the exact counterphrase that breaks their brain and shuts this down. But first, look at the fatal mistake you are making right now. Your natural reaction is to be fair. You try to untangle their web logically. You address point A, then you try to explain point B, burning precious mental calories just to correct the timeline of events. You are using all your energy to clear away the smoke, desperately hoping that if you just explain yourself clearly enough, they will finally answer your original question. But the moment you try to decode their word salad, you have already lost. You are playing their game on their turf. You're doing all the hard work, and they are literally feeding on your effort. Your frustration is their fuel? If your effort is what gives them power, what happens if you just stop trying? Let me introduce you to the psychology of strategic laziness and the 2 lazy words that will end their reign forever. You are sweating, my friend, and they are coasting. Every single time you try to clarify a point or defend yourself against their wild accusations, you are handing them a fresh battery to keep their fog bomb running. They do not care about the actual truth. They care about the absolute control they have over your nervous system right now. Your desperate effort to be understood is the exact fuel they need to feel superior. If your effort is their fuel, what happens when you permanently cut the supply? Let me introduce you to the psychology of strategic laziness. This counter technique requires a complete paradigm shift. The manipulator is a verbal predator, and predators expect resistance. They want you to get angry, they want you to get confused, and they want you to get defensive. If you are doing any of those 3 things, it means their trap is working perfectly. But what happens when a predator strikes and hits absolutely nothing? I will show you how they instantly panic when you do this. But first, you must understand why your apathy breaks them. Apathy is the manipulator's kryptonite. When you withhold your energy completely, you starve them. They desperately need you to care about their massive word salad so they can feel incredibly smart and dominant. When you don't care, their grand illusion shatters into a million pieces. They are suddenly just a person talking to a wall. I am about to give you the precise instructions on how to deliver the final blow. But execution is everything. Here is exactly what you will do. You're going to let them dig their own grave. This requires massive discipline. You must fight every natural instinct in your body that is screaming at you to interrupt them and correct their lies. You will let them talk. You will let them build their giant, fragile house of cards piece by piece, right in front of you. They think they are winning, but you are just letting them set themselves up for a massive fall. Here is exactly how this scenario plays out. You ask your simple question. They activate the fog bomb. You always do this. You act like I'm irresponsible. But need I remind you about the time you lost the car keys 3 years ago? And frankly, the macroeconomic situation right now means my financial priorities are aligned differently than your rigid expectations. It is completely absurd. You want to scream. Don't. Here is your required physical action. Total physical stillness. You let them speak. You do not interrupt. You do not sigh heavily. And you absolutely do not roll your eyes. You stare directly at them with the cold, dead eyes of a shark watching a fish flop uselessly on the deck. You let them build their ridiculous house of cards all the way to the very top. And then, my friend, the music stops. Eventually they have to breathe. The massive, exhausting tangent comes to an end. They look at you, crossing their arms, a smug look of victory on their face. They are fully expecting you to be visibly confused, deeply offended, or boiling with anger. They are waiting for your desperate defense. But instead, you are going to drop a psychological bomb. Here is the exact timing. Do not speak immediately. You must let the tension hang in the air for 2 full seconds. 1, 2. Let the awkwardness stretch out. Let them feel the heavy, uncomfortable weight of their own ridiculous monologue echoing in the silent room. This silence strips away their armor and makes them incredibly vulnerable. And now, you strike. Here is the exact delivery. You look at them completely unimpressed. A dead blank stare. 0 emotion. 0 anger. 0 confusion. You are looking at them as if they just spoke to you in a language you don't care to learn. They are bracing for a massive argument. They are ready to counter your logic. Instead, You're going to use the two-word guillotine. You look them dead in the eyes, and you say exactly this in a flat, monotone voice. So what? That is it. Just 2 words. It sounds too simple, doesn't it? But you have no idea what those 2 syllables just did to their central nervous system. Let me show you the absolute psychological wreckage you just caused. You just took a sledgehammer to their ego. They spent 5 agonizing minutes constructing a massive, intricate labyrinth of words, historical events, and complex jargon. They were sweating, performing, and burning endless calories just to mentally trap you. And with 2 ridiculously lazy syllables, you didn't even try to solve their maze. You just stepped completely over it. This is a complete system failure for the manipulator. Their entire strategy relied on one critical assumption: that you would care enough to defend yourself. By refusing to touch a single detail they brought up, their fog bomb instantly evaporates into thin air. You gave them absolutely nothing to fight against, and now they are punching ghosts. Imagine the humiliation. They threw their absolute best manipulation tactic at you, and it landed with a pathetic hollow thud. Now, they are standing completely exposed in the awkward silence. They are forced to rebuild their entire argument from scratch, but this time, they feel incredibly foolish and weak. Notice the massive shift in power, my friend. A minute ago, you were the one sweating, scrambling to find the right words, desperately trying to be understood. Now, the scales have tipped entirely. You are doing absolutely zero work. You are a cold, immovable brick wall, and they are the ones sweating and hyperventilating. But be warned. When you shatter a manipulator's ego this violently and this quickly, they will have a visceral panic response. Their brains simply cannot process the disrespect of your absolute apathy. You must know exactly what this panic looks like, or they will drag you right back into the mud. Let me show you their final desperate move. Here is their panic response. They will look at you, their eyes wide with genuine shock and fury, and they will immediately try to shame you for your apathy. They will raise their voice, point their finger, and say, "What do you mean, so what? Were you even listening to a single word I just said?" Do not flinch. Do not apologize. You are going to deliver the final lazy nail in the coffin. You look at them with that exact same dead, unimpressed stare, and you answer them with this: "I listened. I just don't care. Get to the actual point." Boom. Total, undeniable dominance. You have entirely dismantled their ego and stripped them of their power without raising your voice, without explaining yourself, and without fighting. You let their own toxic energy consume them while you simply stood by and watched the fire burn out. They will never try a word salad on you again. Why? Because predators do not hunt prey that refuses to run. It is too much work for them. They will move on to an easier target. But there is one final piece to this puzzle. A master key that guarantees they never disrespect you in any argument ever again. And now, for those of you who stayed until the end, the master key. The ultimate rule of psychological dominance is this: never explain your apathy. The moment you explain why you don't care, you are caring again. Stay silent. Stay lazy. Win.